investigation is now being treated as a multiple homicide.
Woodstock is still reeling from news that a former nurse is charged in the deaths of 8 elderly patients in Ontario nursing homes. French authorities say the Calais migrant camp has been demolished days before expected. After 152 days, the Toronto Raptors return and will be up against the Detroit Pistons in tonight's home opening game.
Hi, and welcome to Humber News. I'm Hunter Crowther, coming to you from our newsroom here at Humber College North Campus. The community of Woodstock is reeling today from news of the alleged murders of senior citizens in the Crescent Care Nursing and Retirement Home. 49-year-old Elizabeth Wetlaufer will appear in court again next week. She has been charged with 8 counts of first-degree murder. If convicted, Wetlaufer would be one of the most prolific serial killers in Canadian history. Police say the victims were killed between 2007 and 2014, and they ranged from ages 75 to 96. OPP, Woodstock, and London police forces collaborated on the investigation. One person is dead after 2 transport trucks collided on Highway 401 in Milton last night. It happened in the westbound lanes of the highway near Trafalgar Road just after 11:30 p.m. Police say the 2 trucks were involved in a rear-end collision in the construction zone. They say traffic was moving slowly before the last transport truck slammed into the back of the rear of the other transport. The driver who struck the tractor-trailer has been identified by police as a 61-year-old man from Ajax. He was pronounced dead on the scene. The driver of the other truck was taken to hospital with minor injuries. The huge migrant crisis in Calais, France, known as the Jungle, is no more. Authorities say the camp was demolished today, a couple days ahead of schedule. The Jungle was home to around 8,000 migrants who had escaped their home countries. Authorities have been clearing out the camp for more than a week. Many migrants are being bused to shelters in France. Workers began the demolition process on Monday, but migrants started lighting their tents on fire in protest. Dozens of fires raged throughout the night as fire crews fought the flames. Crews had to take extra precaution, though, to prevent gas canisters from exploding. Iraqi special forces have moved over 1,000 people from the villages near the front lines of Mosul. It's the second week of a push to eliminate the militant group ISIS from the city. Thousands of residents have been moved to a camp 50 kilometers away for their safety. The battle for Mosul is designed to crush ISIS in Iraq. It may become the biggest in 13 years since the US-led invasion in Iraq in 2003. According to the United Nations, the fighting has forced more than 7,000 people from their homes, and an estimated 1.5 million residents are still trapped in Mosul. After 3 missed deadlines, the trade deal between Canada and the European Union still hasn't been signed. But now there's word that a deal could still be in the works. European Council President Donald Tusk says the EU-Canada summit to sign a free trade deal is still possible for Thursday. He says there will be consequences for Europe's global position if it fails to strike a deal with Canada. The agreement is being held up by objections from a region in Belgium that's concerned about agricultural imports. Advanced voting is underway in many American states this week for the U.S. election, and Donald Trump is coming under fire for his comments about voter fraud. Trump's own party has criticized his comments, challenging his claims of rampant voter fraud. Critics say studies show only 31 cases of fraud per 1 billion votes casted between 2000 and 2014. Several politicians say this would not have had a major effect on the election outcomes in any way. Trump has called the entire election rigged. Hillary Clinton is ahead of Trump in virtually all major polls. Here at home, patients with prescriptions for medical marijuana could soon be available to pick up some pot with their shampoo. Shoppers Drug Mart has applied to become a distributor of medical marijuana. The Canadian pharmacy says it does not intend to produce the drug, just dispense it. A Shoppers spokesperson says the company should be able to help guide patients seeking marijuana. The company says it has effectively handled other controlled substances and hopes the government will grant it a license to sell the drug. Preparations are underway in Toronto for the Raptors season opener. Our reporter Ken Keller is down at the Air Canada Centre now to check out some of the scene, and he joins us live. Hey Ken, how's it going?
Hi, Hunter. Well, I'm not going to lie, it's a little chilly down here in Jurassic Park in downtown Toronto. Now, you might remember this area from the end of the last season when it was packed with people who were here watching the Raptors play Cleveland. But if you're expecting those same roaring crowds here right now, well, you'd be forgiven for thinking you'd come to the wrong place. It was quiet in the Air Canada Centre this morning as workers began setting up for tonight's game. Fans were few and far between as the stores worked to clean up in anticipation of a busy year. But for die-hard fans, there's nothing that will stop them from being here.
Good. I think people are underestimating the experience we gained last year, and I think the team is ready to go. And the big signing with DeMar is definitely going to push him forward, and he's going to take the team with him.
The Raptors are starting off their regular season with a game at home, following a record-setting season last year. The Raptors made it to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in franchise history. Last year also set a record for their overall best season. The crowd here at the Air Canada Centre has begun to pick up, though when we talked to people earlier today, it seemed most of them were here for tomorrow night's Leafs game. Here's hoping that tonight's game will convince Raptors fans that Jurassic Park is the place to be. The game is set to start at 7:30. For Humber News, I'm Ken Keller. Back to you, Hunter.
Thanks, Ken. Canada has been named the #1 travel destination of 2017. The travel publication Lonely Planet has put our country at the top of its list of 10 best places to visit. We get the details from Alwyn Navarro-Fenoy.
While people are trying to flee America and Donald Trump, it's no wonder why Canada is ranked the best travel destination in 2017. Lonely Planet Travel Guidebook says it's now time to start planning your Canadian trip. Tourists won't run out of things to do in a city like Toronto, which emphasizes travel and tourism. Humber students give their take on what they think about Canada.
Well, I've been to downtown a lot. I think the downtown's really neat. They got a lot of clubs, cool bars and stuff like that, so good for the young community, right? A lot of fun things to do.
The book also mentions the wave of positivity within Canada and its impeccable politeness.
The people around, the nice people, Canada. It's basically a nice community, so.
If you ever run out of ideas on where to plan your next trip, you might want to consider staying within the country. The Lonely Planet website lists places to go and cool sights to see that many might have never even considered. Alwyn Navarro-Fenoy, Humber News.
The Toronto Art Gallery is playing host to 100 Ghosts to celebrate Halloween. The exhibition is based on Japanese folklore and features local and international illustrators. Corey Martinez has the details.
Northern Contemporary Gallery in Parkdale has been invaded by ghosts. Owner and operator Hitoshi Murakami invited 25 local and international illustrators to interpret Japanese folklore.
The artists in this show are fantastic. These are a lot of artists that, in many ways is a dream show for me, and these are artists that I've always wanted to curate for. We have several teachers from the illustration program at OCAD. The CVs on a lot of these illustrators are incredible. They've done pieces for like New York Times or Walrus.
Merging Halloween and alternative art, Hiyaki Yagyoi, Night Parade of 100 Demons, hopes to inspire and show Toronto that art can take various forms.
It's basically a night in Japanese mythology where an assortment of sort of like ghosts and demons, they walk the streets, and you just basically don't want to get caught.
Gallery associate Chantal Hassad says places like this help independent artists get exposure while being fun.
It's a great spot. They show work from artists that aren't represented, so they're not being art dealers. The artists just use the spaces. Really cool. I learn a lot about how to hang the work and what all goes into organizing a show like this, because there's some pretty big names here.
Boils and ghouls have to Halloween to scare up some fun at the Northern Contemporary Gallery. Who knows, you may find some last-minute costume ideas too. For Humber News, this is Corey Martinez.
When we come back, we'll tell you what's happening in the world of sports, and Lindsay Wadden will have your 3-day forecast.
It was bound to happen. What seemed like a forever summer that continued through September and October is finally over. All of your 3-day forecast after the break.
But first, some fishy news for you. Rio de Janeiro is opening the largest aquarium in Latin America. There are 8,000 animals and 350 different species. Guests will be able to swim with the sharks and get up close and personal with some of the other creatures. The Monster Aquarium spans 6 floors. It'll officially open on November 9th.